I'm CK. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at a portable LCD digital microscope. I don't do much surface mount work, so I can't justify a full-size microscope workstation for that type of work, but I've always wanted a little more magnification, and I looked around on various online websites, and c.k.haun has this microscope with a 4-inch or 4.3-inch LCD screen for $60. So I figured if it works halfway decently, it's going to be just what I need for those times when I need some deep magnification and a screen so I don't have to be peering through various magnifying glasses or visors or whatever. So I've been very patient. This actually came yesterday and I have not opened the box, which is really hard for me. So we'll take a look at it tonight. So the fundamental question we want to answer tonight is, are these sub $100 US microscopes valuable? Do they enhance your work? Do they do a job that's okay, or is it just not worth it and you should, if you need it, if you're doing a lot of surface mount, if you're doing a lot of close work with other types of materials, do you need to wait, save up and get one of the higher end dual lens microscope type magnifiers for electronic work? So I decided to spend $60 and see if this one's okay. And of course, this is innovation beyond imagination. It's a continuous zoom system and adjustable light for industry education, collection, research, biological and mineral. 1x to 600x super battery, working life of 6 hours. If it does that, that's fine. HD, high speed, smart, portable, multi-purpose super battery. Nothing new on that side. It shows the stand. I don't know if I actually don't know if it comes with a stand, so I'll see if I'm disappointed or not. HD color CMOS sensor, which is good, and on the back more pictures of how you can look at ants and diamonds and bacteria and something else and something else and some electronic stuff. Made in China, as you would anticipate. So and by the way, this USB to USB-C, or is that mini USB? Mini USB was in the box with it, kind of tossed on top. So it was not inside the packaging box, it was in the shipping box. Let's open her up. Okay. Piece of foam. A very brief manual, which is good. And for right now, I'm just going to ignore that. If I can't figure it out, then we'll go back to that. And here it is. It says microscope. There's obviously the image input end. I assume this is either zoom or focus. Let me look at these buttons. That's power. And I am going to put my visor on. Power, menu, mode, 2 arrow buttons, and an OK button. On the back, it's got slots to mount it on a stand. And interestingly, where's my little pokey thing? There's foam behind that. And it pushes back up top, and it's solid here, because as you can probably see, the barrel of the microscope goes up into that base. And here is a reset button. And on the front, there's also a little button, or that could be a light sensor, I can't really tell. What else is in the box? Oh, it does come with a little stand in this styro bag. It should have a base. Oh, it has another cable, so it looks like... But that's... As you can see, that's not a mini USB, that's micro, or I get so confused with USB naming, so I'm not actually certain. And here's another bit of bracketry that I'll figure out in a bit, and take out the plastic piece. And here is power adapter. I will not take this power adapter apart because I don't want to see how horrible it is. It's probably very scary inside. It's rated as 120, 240 volts, AC, 50 to 60 hertz, output 5 volts, 2 amps. So it's a 2 amp USB charger. However, if it puts out 2 amps, I'd be very surprised, but I'm not analyzing the power supply tonight. Though it is interesting, in the USB connector, it's already, oh gosh, I can see it's bent, and then when I went to see if I could bend that down, the whole connector is very loose. This is, to quote another YouTuber, this looks very dodgy, so I probably won't use it because I don't need to burn down my house today. And there's the base for the little stand. I'm not sure what kind of metal this is, but I can guarantee you it's cheap. I can't tell if this is cast or sintered. The surface looks like it's sintered, but I can't believe anybody would go to that much effort or that much expense to use a sintered aluminum or stainless steel, whatever this is. I'm sure it's not stainless steel. Well, it could be. I'm sorry, I shouldn't make that assumption. I'm going to get a chisel so I can dig into the back of this to get a little better idea what kind of metal is involved in this. First test, is it ferrous? No, it is non-ferrous. The magnet doesn't react to it at all, or it doesn't react to the magnet, whichever way you want to analyze it. Let's see. Oh, it's aluminum. If that, it deforms very easily. Let me do a little bit of filing. Oh yeah, that's just aluminum, but I'm trying to determine whether this surface speckling is sintering or whether it's just a surface finish. So if I grind it off, well, I'm not getting down to smooth metal, so I guess it is sintered. That's interesting. I've rarely seen that. Okay, so next step is to mount this to this. Well, first, before we do that, that's the little mount that goes along with it, obviously. And here's the rack and pinion to raise it up and down, and it feels smooth. It's not rough, whatever the gearing is. It's not uncomfortable to touch, and it's a little notchy, so I don't know how I'm going to do on very fine back and forths, but in general it feels fine. And again, I continue, whenever I'm looking at a product like this, I do also keep in mind this was $59, so I'm not going to analyze it in terms of a multi-$100 unit. I'm going to say how good it is for a $50 unit. I'm going to look here again, because one thing I did not see, okay, we've got two other, I'm sorry, I didn't look at this side before. We've got that's the USB connection, and it goes with this one, not with this one that was thrown into the box. I have no idea why that showed up, so we'll get rid of that. There's a slot for a TF card to record imaging, and then there's a dial, and I don't know what that does. Obviously, if it's on the back like that, it's probably not critical and not something you'd use all the time. I don't know how I got grease on the screen already. So it'll sit in there like so. And I can lock it in. And before we try the big turn on reveal, I'm going to change the camera position so you can look more straight on to look at the actual imagery it's going to produce. And now for the grand, let's power it up and let's see if it shipped with the battery with any charge in it. And I got a blue light. We've got various things on the screen. So what I'm seeing right now is we've got no card installed, 1080p, battery is very low, it's down to 1 bar. It's got a default date of 2016 0509 22 31 34, so who knows what that means. I mean, that's just whatever the clock was set to when they shipped, when they burned the ROMs. So that also means this is a 5-year-old ROM set. So who knows how great it is. There's a 3 with a circle, or there's a thing, and I can't tell what it is, and it's repeated here. I think that's a camera icon, and I think what this means is that could be a 3-second delay, like a self-timer or whatever, but I don't know for sure. Let me pull up menu. So menu gives us resolution. Oop, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Resolution, date tag, motion detection, that's nice. Cycle record, and then the card. So let's go back up to resolution and hit OK. So it's got 1080p, 720p, and VGA. Does anybody still do VGA? That's weird. So say OK to that. We'll go down to date tag. Oops. We'll go down to date tag, and oh, that's just an on and off. Huh. But if I have a date tag, I want to be able to set what date it is. Please? I guess I can't. Motion detection, off. So I guess, again, I could look this up, but I'm too... This is the modern world. If I can't figure it out from the menus, it's bad. I'm going to assume when you put something under the scope and either it moves or when you move it under, it'll turn the scope on. I'll leave that off for now. Cycle recording means 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or off. It was defaulted to 3 minutes. Ah, that's what that icon on the front was, on the home page was. Okay. So we'll leave it there. And EV, oh, that's exposure compensation. And we'll just leave that at 0 because I don't know what it's gonna, I don't know what it is yet, if you know what I mean. So we've got the camera icon again, and here is a wrench icon, which I'm going to assume means there are more settings that are just general settings. So let me press some buttons. Here we go. I just pressed the menu button again and I got to that. So format, to format the memory card, cancel out of that. Language setting, so I can get myself in trouble. English, Russian, looks like simplified Chinese, traditional Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Spanish, Turkey is what it says, so I'm going to assume that's Turkish. That looks Hebrew. Is that Hindu? I'm not sure. Polish, French, Italiano. Geez, they've got a lot of language support, which is nice. Auto power on off. We're going to put auto power. Oh gosh. The settings are off 1 minute and 3 minutes. Why don't you have something like 10 minutes? But it doesn't, so I'll just leave it off. Screensavers. Really? We'll put the screensaver in at 3 minutes. But if it turns itself off after 3 minutes, that just doesn't make sense. It's got a reset, it's got a frequency selector, 50 hertz or 60 hertz recording. We'll leave it at 50 just because, and here's the time setting. Let's see how hard that is to set. Maybe if I hit menu again, yes. Video rotate, off and on, leave it off. What more is there? Fill light. We'll leave the fill light on in case we have fill come by. And I said on, that should exit me out of here. And the version number we've got here is version 1.3.0. Okay. Okay, so I've gone through most of that. I've gone through all the menus. And then there's a mode button. Oh, it looks like, okay. So I think the mode changes, well, I know this. The mode changes this icon. Right now it's just magnifier, I believe is what that means, or video recording. This is a regular SLR type icon, so I would say that's probably take some still images. And this one interacts with the memory card, so I don't know anything about that. So now let's put something under it and take a look, see if it does any good. Put my pokey thing under it. Oops. Obviously it's not that stable. So here's my pokey thing. One thing you don't have a good target. In other words, I'm not sure where on this surface I want to be to get under the microscope. So, oops, I keep banging this thing. Let's see what this does. Okay, so that's focus. Now I'm going to move the little dial that I found on the back, and that changes the illumination. I thought that might be the case. So we can use our rack and pinion to pull the thing up and down. Now let's put a circuit board under here. Let's see what we got. So that seems pretty good. I mean, can I read part numbers off chips? Pretty well. Let me see. I'm going to take a look through the camera to see if you're seeing what I'm seeing. So there, we're zoomed in a little closer. Now if I move the thing up and down, you won't be able to see it as well, but I'll deal with that. So again, looks pretty good. You can see very well. Now I'm just going to have to get up and do this again because I'm going to lower it down. So that's the most magnification I can get, because there's no other, oops, why did you, dang it. So there's no other zoom controls, because this is just focus. There's no zoom except the rack and pinion. So I'm going to back the view off again a little bit. So as I rack down, it's getting, the image is obviously getting larger, and I can still focus. So let's see how it resolves all the way down. So I'm right on top of this IC, and I don't know if I can get a focused image. No, I'm too close. Still too close. Okay, it looks like, let me get some calipers. It looks like I can get within an inch of something. That's as close as I can get, and actually get some get some focus where I can read it, which is fine. Just good to know the limit. Let's get rid of that. Let's put another something or other here. Trying to see if I've got anything with a surface mount chip on it. I think so. Let me look. Okay, here's a little board with some surface mount LEDs on it. So let's see. In operation, I come in here, I say to myself, I want to check out the solder joints on these surface mount LEDs. So what I would typically do is I'd have this up a little bit, and I'd come in and I'd say, okay, let me put this down. Oh, I got to focus it. Okay, there's one of the LEDs. Now, is that good enough? Do I need to come up or down? I'll come out a little bit. Focus again. Now, obviously, one theme you're hearing here is I'm doing a lot of focusing. Obviously, some ability to have autofocus would be nice. I know that's difficult because of the device doesn't have the ability to know what you think is important, and in something where the dimensions change in millimeters, focus changes in millimeters, it's hard to make that assumption, so I'm not going to be too mean about that. So it's a little, I'm gonna take the lighting down a little bit, because it really seems to, it's not crisp. I mean, it's okay, but the image is not. Let's see, here's another chip if I wanted to. God bless America. That would drive me crazy, or that will drive me crazy. It keeps going off. I'm gonna have to turn that off. Because you have no, it's not like a computer where you're jiggling the mouse or tapping a key or tapping on the screen every now and again, and the system knows that you're working, so it doesn't try to go to sleep. This has no input from you. It's not sensing the focus. It's not sensing the rack and pinioning, so it doesn't know when you're active or not. So you have to tap buttons to keep it awake. I mean, I understand that the way they've designed this and built this, that's true, but it would have been nice to have a little, say, rotary sensor on the focus knob to let it know, yes, somebody just focused, don't go to sleep right away. But yeah, this is good for, I guess, for some stuff. I'm still not, sorry, I'm not sold on it. I don't like the color. I don't like the quality of the video image. I think it resolves well. I mean, it's got a good, solid, crisp lines on focus, but either the CCD is just not presenting true colors very well, or their image processing system is not great. Let me use my reference card here, because that's always a good thing to take pictures of. So this is my standard reference card. It's got inch measurements, millimeter measurements, millimeter bars. These bars are, I think they're 1/8 inch, but I need, these are 1/8 inch. These are X's to resolve, and then colors to see how the color matching is going. And of course, this index card comes from the International Guild of Knot Tires, which I am a proud member. So we'll put that under here as a good reference point. So let's go to the bars. I'm gonna rack us all the way back up. Oh, God bless America, it just went to sleep again. I am tired of that. Now, I assume you can see this too. Here's what I'm viewing. Here's a reflection, because this is shiny. This is a reflection of the illuminating LEDs. So that's a little bit annoying. Let's see how I can take, but if I dial the illumination back, it gets rid of it, of course, and the LEDs are on slightly right now, so it's probably providing a little bit of light. No, it's not. But yeah, if you're working on a shiny surface, obviously you're going to have to get rid of the light. So let me bring it on down, just so we can see how close we can get and see how sharp the edges are. I'm going to take it down to about 1 inch. So 1 inch, it resolves pretty well. You can see well, interestingly, and you probably can't see this on the recording, but this is not solid black. There's a lot of, there's orange, green, light blue, red, red, red. There's a whole bunch of color dots in that black ink, which I'm surprised at. And yeah, it's from the offset printing, or whatever we call it now. I can't. No, it resolves pretty well. And I can see the edges of these letters really well. Now, let's get back to my complaint. Let me pull back up again. And focus again, if I can. Let's bring the color bars over. I mean, that's really washed out. Let me see if you can see. I'm going to set that down there. Let me see if you can see both. I think you can, but I want to verify it. So yeah, if you look, and you can see this, this is a nice vibrant yellow, and on the screen it's very washed out. If we go to the magenta, same thing. This is very vibrant, this is washed out, the blue is washed out. Red's a little washed out and muddy, the green. So the color's not great. Now, in general, I don't know whether that would be a problem. I think, let me go back here and take a look. I think the only time I might care in what I would use this for is in color bands on a resistor. And now I'm not getting the little light to come back on. Come on, little light. There you go. So that's yellow, violet, orange. I guess that's not too washed out not to tell that. But it's still, the color's not great. Did we have a menu item for that? Nope. Now, since I don't have a card, I can't play with any of the recording functions. So that's a circuit board. That's an index card. What else? Let's look at the palm of my hand. So, but in general, I think if I look at, again, if I go back to this and look at my surface mount LEDs, for doing inspection or perhaps a little rework, like that LED, obviously I soldered that with my feet. Gosh, and now I'm fighting the focus. Okay, I think we found the limits of this unit. It's a fine device if you want something basic for up-close magnification, very, very tight magnification for looking at things like SMD, for rework if you're looking at very small part numbers on an IC that you want to identify. This could certainly fill that role. In a production setting or in a setting where you're going to work, like under it, you're going to do soldering under it or positioning parts under it, I don't think so. For $50, this is okay. I certainly don't see myself using this a lot. And I still have a desire to find something that is a little more, couple of things. Has a better screen, better color system. This screen at 1080p, this is not really resolving very finally. When I look through a physical microscope, it resolves to the level of whatever my retina can absorb, and it can be very crisp and sharp. This is not super crisp and sharp. the color is off. Having to manually adjust the lighting is a little frustrating. I like the option to be able to adjust the lighting, but I don't want it to be a requirement. So for 50 bucks, 60 bucks, I got what one would expect. So that's it for looking at this little microscope. There'll be a link in the description, of course, if you want to get yourself one of these. I'm sure there are many under many brands at this price. But that's the deal with this, so thanks for watching.